Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and another video here. Today is another installment in a series that I started kind of a while ago on my channel, and then I just have had so many other video ideas that I haven't gotten back to it, and that is my brand favorites. What I do here is I pick a brand in my collection that I have kind of a substantial amount from, and then I just tell you my top 10 polishes from that brand. Today we're going to be talking about Orly because after over 2 years of being subscribed to the Color Pass at this point, I have plenty of Orlys to share with you guys. This is a brand that I have been buying since I got into nail polish, but it really wasn't until I started subscribing to Color Pass that I truly saw the potential and kind of the strengths and the weaknesses of this brand, and I find myself really enjoying most of what Orly puts out. Now, just a quick clarification, because Orly does have two separate lines of polishes. They have their regular line, and that's what ships out in the Color Pass. That's their standard polishes. And then they have something called the breathable line, and it's the same size polish, but these polishes are meant to be worn without a base or a top coat, and they are supposed to be air and water permeable, which makes them classifiable as halal nail polish. Now, for me, I'm not Muslim, so that is not a feature that really affects me in any way, and that is something that is even still, I think, very debated, whether nail polish can truly be halal or not, but I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody was interested in learning more about different halal nail polishes. Orly does have a line that might be considered to be halal. For me personally, I buy from both the regular Orly line and the breathable line, and I just base and top coat all of them because that's just how I do things. I don't believe in non-base coating. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right. But all that to say, I don't differentiate the breathable line from the regular line. They're all put in the same category on my spreadsheet. They're all put in the same drawer in my Helmers. All of that said, I don't think I actually selected any of the breathables I own for any of my top 10s. I just wanted to throw that out there. Orly is by far the largest mainstream polish that I have ever seen. They are 18 milliliter bottles. They have a really nice rubberized cap, and the stem of the cap is pretty long, and it's just really easy to hold, really easy to work with. They have like a wider paddle brush, which for my nail size, my nail shape, works really well. I've heard some people complain about the brush quality as far as like maybe having some wonky hairs or things like that. I've really only experienced that a couple times, and that's like no more or less than any other brand, and I just trim them off. So I've never personally had an issue with the Orly brushes. So now that I've given you the briefest of overviews on Orly nails, I'm going to scoot to the side, and then we're going to talk about my top 10 Orlys of all time. Now, as per usual, these are in no particular order because ranking things stresses me out, but I figured I would start with my OG favorite by Orly, and that is Mirrorball. Look at the fill line. It's one of the first Orlys I've ever bought, and this one, it's just got like a very nostalgic place in my heart. I've shown this off a few times. I talked about this one recently in a Topic Tuesday of like old faves versus new faves, and in that I talked about how I thought this was like the height of cool. Like this was the peak awesome nail polish. You were never going to get any better than this. No polish could be more interesting than Orly Mirrorball. And to this day, like I still think that I understand why. Like the rainbow or the hollow glitters in here are throwing mad rainbows. It's really pretty. There are definitely better polishes out there, but I can see why 22 or 23 or however the heck old I was at the time, Hillary, really enjoyed this polish. It was a good introduction for sure. And I mean, I wore the heck out of it, so. The next polish on my list is Orly's Synthetic Symphony, which is kind of hard to say. And this one is probably on most of our top 10 Orlys. I think that a lot of people went nuts for this one when it came out. And this one has weirdly, at least from my perspective, my perception, this has become the baseline in the nail community for this sort of color, because every time a launch comes out with a color that's similar to this, I see people saying, how does that compare to Synthetic Symphony? Here's my swatches compared to Synthetic Symphony. Everybody busts out this one and tries to compare it. Like when Holo Taco released like I'm Live and then Resting Witch Face a few months later, like everybody was like, get Synthetic Symphony and tell me how this compares. Like, they needed to know. The people needed to know. So I think it's really funny that this has become a weird kind of staple. And I always wonder, like, how does that happen? Does one big influencer say, I love this, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, me too? Or is it like a really just a collective mindset where we're all like, that's good, that's the one? But I mean, I'm right there with you guys. I love Synthetic Symphony. Number 3 is from the very first Orly color pass I ever received. And that one is like really what hammered in my love for Orly. And this one is called Nouveau Riche, and it is from the holiday 2020, I believe. Yeah, it would be holiday 2020. That was the first color pass I ever got. And this is this beautiful kind of metallic-y, flaky, glittery green. And it reminds me of beetle wings. Like, it just reminds me of those like beautiful jewel-toned beetles. And it just sold me. It sold me so hard. Every single Orly holiday collection since 2020 has been a disappointment to me because this was the greatest Orly holiday release I've ever seen. It was also right when I was getting into green colors. I was never really big on green up till that point. And then I don't know if it was just, there was kind of a shift in my thoughts or just the people I was watching were talking about greens more and more that I started feeling like I loved green too. And now I just love green. And so this one kind of wormed its way into my green love and heart. Number 4 is from this year, the Orly Surrealist collection from the fall. I actually have 2, and I'm sure you guys will be able to guess the other one, but the first one is Metamorphosis, and I tried to dupe out that collection on my channel, and this was the one where I was like, it's impossible. I cannot dupe this out. I have nothing in my collection that is quite like this. It is kind of a tealish blue, and it has this bronzy gold shimmer running through it, and the way that it interacts with the blue, I don't know, and then there's like some pink. It's so unique. It's so beautiful. If you guys have a dupe for this, let me know, because I've just never really seen a polish that looks quite like this, and it really stuck out to me, and it's just got another little place in my heart just for that. So of course you knew that the other one from the Surrealist collection would be Elysian Fields. I cannot shut up about this. I won't shut up about this. I think about this polish on a daily basis. I'll just be like sitting there at work doing my little Excel charts, and then I'm like, what a beautiful color. It's really rare to see a cream this unusual of a color, and it's even rarer to see it put out by a mainstream brand, but I'm glad Orly did, because now I've got 18 milliliters of it to wear all year round. I've worn this 3 times already, like since the fall color pass released, which unheard of for me. Excellent. And then I have one more green on this list. So we have Kelli's green, which I bought every single Kelli collab that's come out. There's been 3 so far. The first one had 3, which I've got one from there. Then she did 2 greens. This is from that one. And then recently she did the Witching Hour collection, and that one had 6. But out of all of the collections, if I really sit down and look at it, I think this and the other one on my list are probably the best. I love when Orly does this kind of shimmer. The one that is not like kind of a metallic-y type, which I don't know. Orly has like a few different kinds of shimmers that they use, or like shimmer type polishes that they make. And out of all of them, this is the only one I really like. The ones that have that like really ethereal shimmer running through it. It's hard to see the one on this one on camera. It's just like a lime green with I don't know if it's gold or a lighter lime green shimmer running through it. Just looks very like Nickelodeon slime, and I like it. I love the ethereal shimmers that Orly puts out. I even have one more on this list to really drive it home to you guys. We also have a jelly on here. They recently came out with some more jellies. They came out with 3 in the Witching Hour with Kelli Marissa, but in the summer, they had a launch of a trio of jellies as well. And it was fun to see Orly kind of do something a little bit more out of the box, because Orly tends to be, I would say, a safer brand. I don't think that they do anything too crazy, but when they do something fun and weird, they do something fun and weird, let me tell you. And with the jellies, it was no exception, because this jelly straight up looks like pee. If you haven't drank water in like 48 hours. It is a really gross yellow jelly, and I love jellies and I love gross colors. And so when you mash those two things together, I double love it. I don't even think I said what this is called. This is called Ray of Sunshine. Number 8 on my list is the other super ethereal shimmer that I was talking about. This one is called Beautifully Bizarre. When I bought this, I bought it off of, I think, Trans Design, which is just a, like, I think they do like wholesale type stuff, and their nail polish is super cheap. I thought this was a cream. I really didn't know, and I just kind of threw it in there thinking like, oh, I could use a pink like that. When I got it, it was like the most pleasant surprise because it's a pink, but it has this, I would say, like a duochrome shimmer running through it, and it flips, I guess you'd say multi-chrome because there's more than two, Hillary. But there's like a purple, blue, and a green flip to this shimmer in this beautiful, dainty pink that it gives me like fairy wing vibes. That's what I think of when I look at it. I like the name too. It's just a fun name. But I think that when I first got into polish, I liked shimmer, but I was like, oh, shimmer's so boring. Who could like shimmer? So I refused to allow myself to like shimmer. Now I'm just like, you know what? Shimmer's one of the best finishes. Shimmers and flakies are just my favorites, and I just have to own up to the fact that I am boring and basic. Honestly though, like, what is the cool finish to like? I don't know. I like them all, okay? Number 9, we have from the first Kelli collab, Kelli's Antimatter. And this, like I said, was a trio. And they were all kind of galaxy-themed polishes. But this one, like, there was 2 that were much brighter, much more fun. Then there was this one that on camera you can see it looks almost black. Part of that is just my lighting is not that great right now. But even in person, it is quite dark in the bottle. And then when I started painting it on my nail, I was just like, oh, I'll take the swatch photo, but I'm not, like, I didn't care. And then I realized this isn't like a dark, dark purple. Well, I mean, it is, but like it's comprised of these super tiny itty bitty like micro glitters that are in purple and red and blue. And so you can really see that on the nail. You can see the depth of that color. And when the light hits it right, the blue's kind of shimmering through a little bit brighter than everything else. And it gives it a really interesting look. It's got like little secrets in there. Now, I don't think you can buy this one anymore. I think that for Halloween, they did drop the greens again or something like that. But I think that you might have to find this one more in a D-stash. Maybe one day they'll re-release them. I'm not sure, but it's definitely really cool. If you have it in your collection, I'd say it's worth pulling out and wearing again. And then finally, I have actually a topper. And Orly has a lot of like fun toppers. They do mostly, it seems like, a lot of hex glitter type stuff, which it's not necessarily my jam. I have a lot of them, but I just like more unusual toppers typically, but I like the color combos that Orly does. However, this one, it is a hex glitter. It's called Hits the Spot. It was part of their first Lisa Frank collab, and it just got a re-promote with some new toppers as well. This one has a ton of like smaller hex glitters in a bunch of matte neon colors, but it also has a bunch of scattered hollow glitter, and there are little yellow stars in here. And I love a star glitter. Like, as much as I'm like always complaining about the star glitters being hard to get out of bottles, I found that on this one, not so much, because the stars in this particular topper are smaller than the stars in a lot of other star toppers that I've used. And so it seems like they don't sink as hard and they're easier to get even without fishing. Like, I don't really have to fish too hard with this one. So, I mean, it's Lisa Frank, it's fun, it's colorful, it's just like boom, in your face, right up my alley. So those are my top 10 Orlys that I have in my collection right now. Let me know what your guys' favorite Orlys are. I really, like I said, Orly, they are kind of a safer brand in a lot of ways. They do a lot of safer polishes, but I really love when they step out of the box a little bit and they do something a little bit differently, because when they do try to step out of the box and do something a little goofy, a little weird, I feel like it's very successful. These are some weirder polishes, and they all made it to my top 10. I love them. So yeah, let me know what you love from Orly, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.